Okay, check the time. Just about 4 minutes cruising on from the 1 o'clock hour inside the studio of winnfm 98.9 on the FM dial, and we gonna be joining Dr. Terrence Martin with Money Matters in just about 30 seconds or so. I just want to say a pleasant good morning, good afternoon to you, Mr. Martin, and I want to say welcome back. You take a summer break, so what's been going on?
Hey, how are we doing, Flames? Good to be back with the Winifred family. As you said, I took some time off. We've been doing this show since 2023 now, right? It's been a busy summer, man. Honestly, there was no relaxation, there was no fun, there was no outside in the summer. It was a summer full of work and hopefully things that will pay off in the future. Leveling up is uncomfortable, and I have to tell you, I was very uncomfortable this summer. How are things
I'm
going on
telling
your
you, I
end?
mean, with the financial crisis that's happening, plus the heat, man, it's crazy.
Yeah, the financial the I don't want to say financial crisis. That's almost like calling wolf, right? But it's definitely been a tense financial times, and if you follow U.S. news, you see how when we get certain types of economic data, if the president doesn't like it, he fires you, right? And that's causing other issues, right? And then we have to also think about whenever an economy like America is shaking, there's a big R talk happening, the big recession talk happening. That's going to affect people in St. Kitts and Nevis, because what is our main industry? Tourism, right? And the tourists that we target, definitely in that band that have been negatively affected by the current administration's policies. So uh, I just want to jump into today's show. I'm titling today's show Back to Basics. And it's really about why financial literacy still matters. And I really wanted to take this step as we start what I think is like the fourth iteration of the show, the fourth season, since I've been hosting anyway. Uh, I really want us as a country to understand that financial literacy is too important to ignore as we have been doing. So first, let me say good afternoon to everybody. I want to welcome you back to Money Matters on WinFM 98.9. I am your host, Dr. Terrence Martin, and thank you for giving me this time today. We've been off the air for about 3 months, and I use the quiet to listen. I listen to the hum of small shops trying to hold margins when costs rise. Yes, I spent most of my summer in St. Kitts. I listen to parents weigh school fees in recent times and uniforms and transport against a paycheck that is already thin. I listen to students ask how to start life without debt they cannot carry and do not have the ability to repay. I listen to elders stretch pensions and help grandchildren. Stepping away from the microphone made one point very clear to me, Flames. This show still matters because financial literacy is a basic life skill that our federation and the wider Caribbean needs. By financial literacy, I do not mean a basket of tips. I mean the ability to read money decisions the way you read a map. It is the habit of slowing down long enough to understand a contract before you sign. Think about insurance. It is the skill to compare low monthly payment with the actual total costs. It is the calm to ask schedule in writing. It is a discipline to keep records so you can defend yourself if something goes wrong. It is the practice of measuring progress by cash flow, cushion, protection, and steady investing rather than by how things look on the outside. Literacy is not trivial, literacy is power. When you are financially literate, you do not have to guess, you have choice. And choice is a powerful thing. Our reality makes this urgent. Food costs more, transport costs more, housing costs more, interest change the price of borrowing, right? So it's now the cost of capital, even though we have some mortgage products out in the space that are offering unprecedented low rates, some of those are still variable rates, so they can be adjusted over time. Small businesses that keep your community alive face higher input prices and the same demanding customers. Wages do not always move with costs. The gap produces stress. People look stressed. Stress produces quick choices. Quick choices often are expensive. The work of Money Matters is to cut through noise and give you a clear, repeatable frame for steady progress in St. Kitts and Nevis and across the region. Our audience is broad. You know, walking through, sometimes I question whether or not this show is needed because the viewership sometimes online when you log in is low. But then I walk into banks and I walk into spaces, or I'm talking casually somewhere and somebody comes up and said, "Hey, I know that voice. Your money matters." I listen. That's why I do this. So, because my audience is broad, because my audience is made up of retirees, young workers, parents caring for elders and children at once, small business owners who unlock their doors before sunrise, students who want a clean start, different stages share the same need. Clear steps, honest trade offs, no hype. We keep the language plain and the examples local so the ideas land in real homes and real shops. Over the last year, we built that approach together. We examined the truth about credit and showed what moves it. We talked about carnival and how to enjoy the culture without regret. We set out a generational wealth roadmap that begins with protection and saving and patient investing. We warned against scams and digital fraud. We spoke about insurance with community lenses. We examined how global policy can impact a small island economy like ours. We kept each conversation practical and local by design. And today we reset and move forward. In the first segment, I will say in plain language why financial literacy still matters and how to practice it at home and in business. And in segment two, we will review the last season with titles, some guests, and lessons we should carry forward. And in the final segment, we'll set the standard for the season ahead. I will not give a menu of topics, but I will explain what you can expect from me and the rules that will guide our conversation daily. The commitment is simple: honest teaching, clear language, respect for your time and your reality. One personal note about the method is, and as you know, I'm a professor, I'm a researcher, but I'm also a son, I'm also a father, I'm a neighbor. Money is not a scorecard here. Money is a tool we use to care for people, to build stability, and to support good work. So when I speak about cash flow, credit, or insurance, I do not speak to impress. I say to serve. You should leave each hour with one step you can take and the confidence to take it. How should you listen if you want to change? Well, keep a notebook. Write one practice you will try for the next 7 days. Share one idea with someone in your home. Ask a question when something is unclear. Progress is not dramatic, it is steady. If you miss a week, start again. The shows are recorded and they're rebroadcast, I think, on Thursday nights. If you slip, correct and you continue. The strongest households are the ones that keep going. Finally, a note about tone. We have a diverse community. So in the upcoming season, I want to tap into that some more. Some of us are struggling and some of us are comfortable. Many of us are in between. You know, that period where we don't know if we're coming or going. There's no shame here, guys. There's only learning and action. If you hear a principle that challenges you, take it as an invitation, not as judgment. If you hear a warning, treat it as care. Money isn't Money decisions are often emotional, and we will respect that. We will name the emotions and still give you the tools. The goal is not to be perfect, the goal is to be prepared. So, this is Money Matters. So, let us begin with our brand new season, and I'm excited to be back. Financial literacy is a working system you can use every week. Think of it as 5 pillars that hold up our households, hold up our small businesses. The pillars are cash flow, awareness, a cushion, a sensible credit, protection, and patient investing. None of these requires special software or finance degree. They need your attention, simple records, simple effort, and your follow through. When these pillars stand together, a household gains options. When they weaken, costs rise and stress spreads. So, cash flow awareness is the first pillar. And know that what comes in and what goes out. We need to know that. We need to track it for a few months and then review it quarterly. And if you're in a relationship, you should do it as a unit because our first goal is openness. Our next goal is visibility. So I want you to write down every bill, every subscription, every transfer, and every pocket spend. Because you'll be surprised that sometimes you have duplicate subscriptions that I just found out. For example, I'm paying for 2 HBO Maxes for the past 3-4 years. When you put that in terms of dollars, that's near $600, $700, $800. Include remittances you send or you receive. Include the tithes that you give in church and the family members and friends that you support. Count small and regular purchases because they add up. You know that thing that costs a couple bucks and we're saying, that's just a couple dollars. It adds up. For most of you, you're paid twice a month if you work for government. So plan by the pay period. Assign each dollar a job. Each dollar has a job to do on paper before it is ever spent in practice. This is planning. This is not punishment. This is not meant to bog you down. This is meant to give you clarity and to give you visibility. So the first pillar is cash flow awareness. You need to know what you have coming in versus what's going out. I've worked with wealthy clients making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year that did not know where their money was going. If you run a small business, this becomes even more important. Because if you're going to get grants, you're going to get loans to expand, you need to know your numbers. You have to reconcile your sales and your expenses weekly. There are apps out there that would allow you to do that, albeit not automatically yet in the Caribbean region. But I need you to keep running. Keep a tab of your list of payables, your receivables. That's the people that owe you money and the people that you owe money. If a customer owes you, write it down with a date and follow up in writing. I've heard too many stories of trust and credit shutting down the regular mom and pop shops. Just look around you, man. In every community in our island, the Judiths, the Grants of the world are now replaced by the Chinese. How is it they can make it, but our homegrown people couldn't? And sometimes it goes back to us. It goes back to how we treat our friends and family that owns businesses, how we treat them as ways to ask for discounts instead of paying full prices. Tight cash flow is a typical thing in a small island economy. And visibility is the edge that will allow us and allow you to adjust before a problem becomes a crisis. So use simple tools, right? It could be Excel. It could be a notebook. It could be an app. A single sheet of a spreadsheet works. Their budget templates online, their cash flow statements templates online. An introductory notes app would work. There's an app that I use called Blue Coins. It would allow you to track your numbers. List income at the top, fixed costs in the middle, fixed flexible costs after that. Any transfers that you have will come last. Tally the total and compare the plan to the actual at the end of the month. Because we all have this idea of what we will do, what we'll spend on. Just an hour ago, I spoke to a student at the university I work at. She was seeking financial advice. And she's doing everything right, but life is life in right now. Her car engine blew. She has a young child. So she fell behind on her mortgage. So we have to know our numbers and then pick one change for the next month. What can we do differently? If we realize that we're not, we're spending more than we think we're spending, what can we cut back? What can we eliminate? How much are you spending when you go out weekly? Fellas, you're not just buying drinks for you, you're buying drinks for maybe to impress that girl you meet in the bar or the one that you're taking out on that date. So you need to budget even more. And you need to know your numbers even more because without records, we're guessing, and guessing is expensive. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. The second pillar is a cushion. I want you to think of this cushion as what it really is. It's an emergency fund. Build 1 month of core expenses in a simple savings account. Eventually, I want you to get to 6. But let's start with 1 because 6 might seem daunting. So build 1 month of core expenses, things that you can't not avoid. You can't avoid paying your rent. You can't avoid paying your insurance. You can't avoid paying for your car if you have one. Maybe your school fees for your children. What are those fixed expenses that you cannot negotiate on? And build a cushion. So when we have downturns like COVID, when we have situations where we're struggling, unfortunately, maybe we lose a job, there's a cushion that is there. So we want to build 1 month of core expenses. Then we're going to move to 3, and eventually we'll get to 6. If your income is irregular, aim higher than when you can. The cushion is not for upgrades. The cushion is not for entertainment. It's for genuine emergencies. Car repairs, appliances, medical bills, short periods of lost income. It's not just there for us to tap into because we want to have a thrill moment. A cushion turns a crisis into an inconvenience. And you don't have to melt down. Because without it, small shocks become new debt at a high cost. So start small if you must, save automatically where possible, and treat the cushion like a bill you pay to yourself. Pay yourself first. If you're starting from 0, begin with a weekly transfer that you can keep. It doesn't have to be $100. It doesn't have to be $200. It could be $5. Do something for yourself to build consistency. Stick to it. A lot of people tell me all the time, but what can I save when I don't have anything? It doesn't have to be a big number. We're trying to build habit. Every month, every week, I have money that goes out of my savings and checking account into some sort of an investment account. I don't want to see it. And there are days I wish I could go tap in and just take that money back because I want to buy something, I want to go somewhere, I want to have some sort of experience, but discipline. So if you're starting from 0, start small. Celebrate progress by noting the date you hit that first week, first fortnight, first month, and so on, because there's psychology in this. Psychology matters here. Visible wins help you continue. That's why anytime anybody asks me about what should I do with my debt, should I pay the biggest one first? No, I said no. We want an avalanche approach. We want to start small. I want to start small. Let's hit that debt that once we pay it off, we could feel good, and then we continue. We build momentum. Okay. And then the third pillar is sensible credit. Now, I want you to see credit as a tool. And by credit, I mean your access to capital from banks, etc. Once used well, it could build your life. In fact, that's how most of the wealthy people in the world became wealthy, through the use of credit. Once we use it well, it helps to build our lives. But once we use it carelessly, it can drain our future because it's expensive. Credit has a cost. The borrowing has a cost. So before you accept a loan or a new credit card, know the rate, know the fees, know the terms, know the total costs. As daunting as it is, read that agreement. Ask clarifying questions and get answers in writing where possible. If an offer is vague, decline it because you don't want to deal with a hidden cost. If they're not willing to tell you the details of the contract or of your obligation, walk away. If the loan officer can't explain it to you in plain language or refer you to somebody or some sort of document that can explain thoroughly to your satisfaction, walk away. Ask what happens if your income dips for 2 months and you can't make payments. Are they going to repossess? How quickly are they going to move? How quickly? I mean, I think debtor's prison is still a thing in St. Kitts. Could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. But what happens if I can't make a payment for 2 months when I've made payments consistently for 3 years? Are you going to show me leniency? Are you going to show me understanding? Are you going to show me that you care about me as a member of my community? So run the numbers yourself. Okay? Pay on time. If you can't, reach out to them and talk to them. Use credit to buy assets that hold value or increase earning power. Leverage is a good thing if it can lead to increasing your income. When Warren Buffett talks about multiple streams of income, he doesn't mean you have to go out and do 5 jobs. It means that you can use money to generate income. So use credit to buy assets, use credit to invest. We have monthly auctions on real estate in St. Kitts. We have land for sale. We have people selling businesses. So use credit to buy that. But be cautious with short-term unsecured loans because they're easy to start, but they're hard to stop. And I'm also thinking here about some of the loans that we take for the thrill, the entertainment, the vacation loans, the carnival loans. Those short-term 1-year loans that are unsecured, it could put you in a cycle, this vortex that you can't get out of. I'm not telling you don't have fun. I'm not telling you don't have travel. In fact, I will always encourage everybody to travel, even if it's just within the region, even if it's a trip over to Nevis, or even if it's being a tourist in our own beautiful country. But I want you to be aware of the cycle, that vicious cycle that you could get yourself caught in. If you carry balances, make a plan to reduce them. List the balances, the rates, the minimums. Choose a payoff order that you can stick with. My recommendation, start with the smallest balance first. Small, steady extra payments beat big intentions that never happen. I used to fail so often at some of my goals because I was thinking about the end and not the many steps I had to take on the journey. So small, steady steps can beat big intentions that never happen. You know, St. Kitts doesn't have a credit score system yet, but we're moving to it, right? We're now going to start to have credit reports. And once that happens, right, you want to keep tabs on that score. So those of you in the diaspora who are listening to me, if your credit score is damaged, do not chase tricks. No shortcuts erases bad credit history. But build a new record with on-time payments and low utilization rates. And if you're new to credit, like a new school leaver, consider a secured card with a small limit so you build positive habits. Use it for planned expenses you would have bought with cash. Let me tell you this. When I was young, coming out of college, somebody gave me a credit card, and it was a horrible mistake. So I'm coming with stories and tools and lessons that I have learned and personally had to have dealt with. So if you're new to credit, consider the secured credit card. Use it for planned expenses, right? Things that you would have otherwise bought with cash, like groceries. Pay it in full each month, and over time, the system will handle and see your responsibility. It's the same thing in St. Kitts. It's the same thing right now. Once you work with a creditor a few times, they then have this record of you that they can go to their boards when you submit credit applications, and it could get you approved faster. And then protection is that fourth pillar. Insure what you cannot afford to lose. Let me say that again. Insure, as in INSURE, insure, insurance, what you cannot afford to lose. If someone depends on your income, carry enough life insurance to replace income for a time to clear significant debts. Meaning, if you're the main income earner in your family, or you make more in your family, you need life insurance. Carry enough life insurance to replace that income in the event that something happens, because life be life in. Young people are dying. In my mind, more than the old people now. Everywhere I turn, it's some young person in their 40s, early 50s passing away. Once you start to set up your insurance contracts, keep your beneficiary details current and written clearly. Who are standing to inherit these things? Store policy documents where your family can find them. What's the point in having the desire to leave an inheritance for somebody and you never tell them, so they don't know where to find it when you pass? Where available and affordable, keep health coverage. Okay? We need medical insurance as well. Don't let you know what most bankruptcies in the United States come from? And I'm certain that it's true. I don't know the rate of bankruptcy in St. Kitts and Nevis, but in the US, it's medical bills. Someone gets sick, and caring for your loved one should not erase years of hard work. For small business owners, consider basic coverage for your equipment and business interruption where practical. A lot of you have businesses, but don't reinvest into the business. Like, we have a culture of not maintaining anything. We need to move away from that. Invest in your business by protecting the assets that you work so hard to acquire. Protection also includes your documents. Keep a will, store account details, policy numbers, your key contacts in a simple file that a trusted person can find. Review this file once a year. Sit with your family and make updates. Protection extends to digital life as well. Cybersecurity is a thing. Scams are coming to your phone via WhatsApp and your phone and calls. Use strong passwords. I was watching something today with a cybersecurity expert, and she said anything that has a camera in it can be hacked once they know your IP address. And she showed the website where you could see the live feeds. It's crazy what's happening out there. I've seen so many times people calling me up, hey, is this a real thing or is this a scam? And most often than not, it is a scam. Because people are preying on your fears and your hopes. So verify requests for money or data by calling the institution at a known number. Don't share your information publicly like that. Don't click on any links that's being so urgent, like you must send this now, you must do now. That's a sign. And they're using artificial intelligence in order to become more human-like. Believe it or not, the scams are looking even more sophisticated now. So again, verify requests for money or data by calling your institution. Because I know of people right there in St. Kitts and Nevis who have been victims of scams and fraud. And then the last pillar that the show is built on is patient investing. Begin with your goals, your time horizon, and your risk tolerance. If you're new, keep the approach simple. Contribute consistently to broad, low cost options available through regulated local institutions. You have the ability to invest in the ECSC, that's the Eastern Caribbean Securities Exchange. Then we have three other major stock exchanges in the Caribbean, in Barbados, Trinidad, and Jamaica. Interesting note about Jamaica, they were the best performing stock market in the world a few years ago. And it's mainly because of their micro business market. Avoid avoid chasing tips. I've helped a few people over the years start investing, and then I let them go about and they do their journey on their own. I don't walk them or hold their hands once we get their accounts open and have some initial conversations. But I do check in, and when I check in, sometimes the things that I hear is that, man, I heard about this and I heard about this tip and I chased it, but then I was too late and I got caught holding the bag. But then I also hear, right? I had this colleague, this chef that phoned me on an interview I did some years ago, and he messaged me recently, And he showed me the returns that he's had this year. And I was so proud. I didn't do his investing, but I was a part of his journey. And I was so happy for him. He was doing better than me. I actually told him, I need your tips. I need your advice because he had an amazing return. And you see, he was putting in the work that I wasn't putting in this year because I was distracted with other things. For many households in our region, the highest return on investment will come from your skills. So I want you to also look at investing, not just as investing in real estate or in stocks, but it's also investing in yourself. It's investing in your human capital. I wish I could be a welder. You know how much money they make? I wish I could tile. I'm building a house. I know the cost of tiling. I wish I had that skill. You know, a certificate, a trade, or a small enterprise that lifts income can beat a financial product in the short run. If you could leverage your human capital, leverage your God given talents, you can make so much money. Integrate education and enterprise into the investment conversation so you don't overlook the best path for your stage. And when you do buy financial products, know the fees. That's the only thing we can control. Know the risk. Know how you can access money if you must. Put the plan in writing. A short investor statement that says what you are building and how long you have will help you stay ready during the market noise. And why do these pillars matter now? They matter because the environment is noisy and the environment is fast. Look at what's happening in Nevis with these sustainable zones. I think it's like basically economic zones being created. And now the people of Nevis feeling as if their lands are being lost. Things are happening when you sleep. Scammers are getting more sophisticated. Interest rates are changing every day. Prices are shifting every day. I'm certain if you go to the supermarket today, go back next week and look for the same item, you might see a price shift because, again, I'm building and in 6 months, I've seen 3 different prices for concrete. Yet I'm being told that prices haven't changed in the Federation. Nonsense. Absolute nonsense. Scams are evolving, guys. They're using artificial intelligence. They're getting to know us because of the social media footprint that we have. So keep a fixed checklist and that will keep you steady. It will give you language for a family money talk. It gives you a way to teach your teenagers, not just your teenagers, your children. My daughter had her first debit card when she was 7 years old. Since she's been 7, she's been making financial decisions on her own, the decision to spend and the decision to save. She still gets most of the things that she asks for. But I wanted to teach her responsibility. So myself and her mom agreed that we're getting her a bank account and we're giving her a credit card. So when she reads in that store and she wants XYZ, she has to answer that question to herself. Is this a want or is this a need? That's from a family money talk. It gives you a path back when life knocks you off course. And if you fall behind, you do not need a new philosophy. You return to the pillars and begin again. Because life happens. Now let's bring this home to our federation. Many households support relatives across borders. Remittances can be a blessing and a strain. Treat sending support for those of you in the diaspora like any expense. Or even if you're there in St. Kitts and working to send money somewhere else. Set a level that you can sustain that don't make you feel like you're doing without. Because if you receive support, and if you receive support, use it. And if you receive support, use it to stabilize essentials and to build rather than. The thing about our small islands is that we're so open to global shocks. They're so open to global shocks. So I think we need to take a break right now. So Dwayne, if you're listening, let's go to commercial break. Okay.
walls and doors.
Found the sound 98.9 FM.
Let TDC Financial Services help you go for your goals. Whether you're thinking of taking that grand vacation, down payment on a house, higher education, TDC Financial Services has various plans that will allow you to go for your goals. Choose from the Accumulator Plus, Investment Starter Plan, and Fixed Deposit. Ready to go for your goals? Visit us at TDC Financial Services, where money is made easy.
And we are back. Yeah, we had a slight technical difficulty there in that transition, so we apologize to our listening audience. But hey, as I said, life be lifing, right? So we were talking about bringing this conversation in general about these 5 pillars of financial literacy back to our federation. You see, because I was saying as small islands, we're so vulnerable to global economic shocks. There's nothing that happens in Washington or London or Moscow that does not have rippling effects on what we experience in Bastille. They say as the bigger countries sneeze, so do we catch the cold. So we have to be even more disciplined as a country and even more disciplined as its citizens of the country. We need a disciplined household plan. So it could be your shock absorber when things go bad. Now, we cannot stop the storm, but it can give us a pathway out to weather these difficult times and these tumultuous waves. I also want to talk about our small business owners in St. Kitts. You guys are the lifeblood of our economy, but you've been beaten down. I see it. Other people see it. It's all around us. But you are vital, and I want you to know that you're vital. But I want you to also look inwards and look at what you're doing and how you're running your business. I need you to move from monetizing hobbies to actually becoming businesses that use leverage. If you own a shop or you have a rental property or you need to know your numbers. Your clean books are not a luxury. When that grant opportunity comes up through Small Business Development Center there, how are you going to access that money if you don't know your numbers? If your small business is your main source of income and you want to go to a bank for a business loan, I often hear that banks don't give loans to people for businesses, but they quicker give loans to cars. But do you know your numbers? Are you going in there with the right data? So books, your financial records are not just a luxury, they're your survival. Record every sale, every expense. Separate your business money and your personal money. Use an individual account for your business. Price so you can cover your costs, cover your taxes, and a wage for yourself and your employees if you have them. If the price you need is higher than what customers will pay, improve the offer or change the model. Do not use debt to cover up a broken price. Sometimes it's literally just your price. And you can get to price if you understand your costs and your expenses. So let's fix the price first. Whenever I talk to small business owners that come to me for advice, and if any of you listening today and you want that opportunity, call the radio station, get in contact with me. I'm not going to tell you no. And most times I don't charge. 99% of the times, the people I talk to in St. Kitts and Nevis and offer advice, they never pay me $1 because I have a vested interest in seeing you successful, because your success creates a more vibrant economy. So like, let's fix the price. Borrow only with a clear return plan and a repayment schedule that fits cash flow, not hope. And this is true, especially when we go into real estate buildings. Sometimes we overbuild. That's that hope part. We're hoping that we could get it rented. And I could tell you, I felt guilty of that. Am I making the right decisions with the right terms and the right, is it the right time? These are things that stresses you. But we need to create a pathway that minimize that stress as small business owners. Write simple terms and conditions. Put them on your invoices. Yes, you have the ability to charge people for late fees, not because it's your friend or your family or you think you're small. The same respect they give to Amazon, to Walmart, to Rams, to TDC, to Hosfords, they need to give to you and your small business. Use receipts for every sale, even if you're doing the work for free. Let people know what your value is. Let them know what the full price of your service is. Get paid for what you know and not just what you do. Because your knowledge is your power. Your knowledge took you years of experience and training to accumulate it. Don't give it away for free. Ironically, I just said I give away money for free, but this is how I give back to my country. These habits protect us when disagreement arises, and they help you to see trouble early. See, money choices are emotional. We spend to celebrate, to soothe, to belong, and sometimes to hide. Let's say that again. Money choices are emotional. We spend to celebrate, to soothe, to belong, and sometimes to hide. Name it, build guardrails around it, delay non-essential purchases for 24 hours. Give yourself time to that buyer's remorse to kick in. Give yourself time to evaluate, do I really need this now? Create a modest, fun line, so joyous plan. I don't like to tell people, I don't want you to ever think I'm saying don't enjoy life, because I try to enjoy life, but I don't want you to become impulsive. I don't want you to be in a situation where you have to truly decide between food and entertainment. Don't get to that point. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. The point here is not perfection. The point here is to use simple tools to realize what went well, what needs adjustment, and what is one of the actions for the next week. And I have to tell you guys, give yourself grace. I am guilty of not giving myself grace. I spent the last 2 to 3 weeks trying to find ways to give myself grace for decisions I just think I made that weren't going my way. So when you review weekly, you shorten the distance between mistakes and correction. That saves money. That creates a peace of mind. Okay? And I want to spend, again, just a little bit more time and bringing this fraud thing clearer. I've seen people get gutted from scammers. And sometimes these scammers, they seem so real. They move fast. They use pressure and they use flattery. Defend yourself with time and verification. Pause. Ask a neutral person. Call your bank or your credit union at a phone number you know is correct. No legitimate institutions demand secrecy or ask for your passwords. No real investment guarantees high returns with no risk. Let me say that again. Because too often in our society, you have all these people, sometimes in very good positions, that bring these products and these services out that guarantee high returns. There are no guarantees in investments. Zero guarantees in investments. One thing you're guaranteed is that the stock will either go up or it will go down. There's risk in everything that you do. Guaranteed high returns with no risk. That's a scam. If an offer makes you rush, decline it. Your peace is worth more than a promised profit. If an error occurs, act promptly. Call the institution, put the facts in writing, save the evidence. You're not the first person to be targeted. So don't feel ashamed. Shame keeps people quiet. Silence helps scammers. Speak and seek help. Tie all of this, financial literacy is not a contest. It is a way to care for people and to build choices into your life. When you track your cash flow, you are practicing stewardship. When you make a cushion or an emergency fund, you're buying peace. It's a form of risk retention. It's similar to the deductible on your auto insurance. When you use credit carefully, you are protecting your future self. Because it's your future self that you're committing to borrowing these large sums of money. When you get a mortgage, you're not paying back the bank. You're not borrowing from the bank. They're facilitating the transaction, but you're borrowing from your future self, your future earnings. And when you insure, you are loving your family. Yes, life insurance isn't for you. Life insurance isn't for you. Let me say that again. Oh, Jesus Christ. Life insurance is not for you. It's for the next generation. It's for your loved ones. Don't allow insurance agents to just sell you and promise profits when you're 65, when they ignore the cost of money, which is inflation. $100,000 20 years from now is no money. Ask them, what is $100,000 in today's dollars? And then you evaluate that investment for its merit. And when you invest patiently, you are trusting time more than noise. Let me tell you, I lost money during COVID and I made it back. I lost money this year with Trump and his nonsense and it came back. But when we lose 10%, 20%, we oftentimes have to make back 100% of that to become whole again. So we need strategy, we need plan. These are quiet acts, guys, but they're powerful. They fit our culture of service, pride, and community. Okay? So, if you're starting today, and if the first time you're listening to me, first time you've heard anything I say, just pick one pillar and act. Track money for 7 days. Open the cushion account and make that first transfer. Talk to your lenders and ask them, how does my credit look? What do you think I can get? Check your insurance and confirm the beneficiaries. Write a short investor statement that names your goal and time horizon. Small steps. Repeated change outcomes. Small steps that are repeated change outcomes. And friends, listeners, that is why financial literacy still matters. That is why I have committed my life to this, and I will continue to do that. That is why every time I get the opportunity to speak or inform knowledge, I'm going to be there, because financial literacy matters. So, I will not give you a menu of upcoming topics. What matters more is how we will conduct this next season. So consider this plain statement of purpose and practice. If we keep this standard, the content will take care of itself and you will have the tools to act. First, you can expect honesty from me. I will tell you what I know, what I do not know yet, and how I will find out. When a question requires a specialist, I will say so without drama and I'll bring one. I'll find one. Second, you can expect difficult conversations. In the past, we've had conversations about men and finance and addressing things like boopsing that in our culture is seen as like norm, but really is a form of financial abuse. Money does not live in a box. It touches policy, culture, family, and identity. We'll talk about habits that hurt us and about systems that frustrate our efforts. Third, we will place our local story within a broader context. Events in the region and abroad affects prices, jobs, and opportunities here at home. We will keep the language plain. I don't need big jargon, highfalutin speech. No talk that hides weak ideas. If a concept is technical, we will build it from the ground up, step by step. That is my promise to you. We will check facts when numbers appear in public. We will trace them to their source if possible. And we'll protect you, the listeners, when we can. So if you have a concern, call in, write in. Money conversations can attract pressure and scams. This program will not direct you to a product or and questions you can carry to your bank and credit union. And you tell them that we hold space for disagreements. Reasonable people can see the same trade-off differently. I've had guests on here that I don't let clarity overheat any day. We will not confuse loud with right. We will demonstrate what respectful argument is and looks like. We will anchor the show in our culture. Caribbean households, our local households make decisions inside family networks, church life, continuing with my efforts, launching my essay competition once again, and officially launching my children's books about children teaching children. And I'm excited about that because I'm focused on action. Each hour we're together will end with one small concrete practice for you to try. And I invite your participation. I invite your participation. Your questions shape the work. Your calls add to the discourse. You can send them by email. You could WhatsApp. Again, call into the radio station. And something dear to my heart, we'll care for the young listeners. Because when I was young, growing up, going to college, I had nobody to teach me about money. And I made every bad financial mistake there is. Every horrible financial mistake, I've probably made it. And that is why I've dedicated my life so you don't. We will model money talks that parents and guardians can use at home. We will encourage schools and youth groups to build regular practice. The earlier we start, the easier the path. And we will keep perspective and be consistent. Now, there are times where I can't make the show simply because I have a full-time job. I might have meetings on a Mondays. But I started my morning by talking to a producer there at winnfm and saying, there are times when I have to record shows. That's me trying to be consistent. All right. So we began today's episode by asking why this program still matters. And the answer is that financial literacy protects families, strengthens small businesses, and give households room to breathe. It is not about being perfect. It's about building habits that work in real life. Today, we set the frame for the season. We define the pillars. We put our way forward that values honesty, difficulty, and clarity over noise. So here's your action for this week. Choose one of these 5 pillars that I talked about today and take the first step. Track your money. Open that account and that emergency fund account. Even if your first transfer is $5, that's a win. Celebrate it. Look at your credit. Have conversations with your lenders. Confirm your insurance beneficiaries. Write a simple one-line investor statement that names your goals and time horizon. I cannot tell you how often people come to me asking for investment advice, and the first thing I ask them is, what is your goal? And it stumps them because all they know is that I want to make more money. I need to make more money. But what is the goal? The goal can't just simply be want to make more money. That's a dream. We need an actual smart goal. Then teach somebody else. Pay it forward. If you learn anything here, put them on to the show. Share a link, like, comment. Even if you disagree with what I'm saying. Your engagement matters because my way is not the only way. I'm open to your perspective. I have our story that can help others. If you want to be a guest, reach out. We will have you. If you send in something, I can change your name to protect your privacy, but I want to offer practical advice. Your voice guides the work. If you lead a church group, a youth program, a community association that wants a financial literacy session and can do it virtually, reach out. We can build practice together. There are people in St. Kitts I can point you to that can also do this work. So I want to thank you all for welcoming back after this break. I want to thank you for the trust you place in this hour. Money Matters will guide with plain language and steady care. We will build step by step. We will hold a high standard. We will keep the focus on what helps a household in St. Kitts and Nevis move from worry to stability, and from stability to opportunity, and from opportunity to prosperity. I am Dr. Terrence Martin, and this is Money Matters here on WinFM 98.9. And until next time, I want you to take care of your money and take care of your people, take care of your future. Remember that it takes financial knowledge to know that you're making financial mistakes.
We're different.